Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Debra. I'm really excited to make this video for you today and share something that has occurred recently, something that has gone on for me. I'm not going to share all the details, but I really wanted to come on here and share what has happened, because this to me is supernatural living. And a huge part of what I do is I live and breathe this stuff. I walk my talk. That is really important to me. So what is it that's occurred that I want to share with you to show to you what is possible? So what has happened, for those of you that know, I recently bought a piece of land where I'm going to be building my home. It was nothing short of a miracle that I actually managed to buy the land, and the land is now ours and we are starting to build. But we'd got to the point that we had completely and utterly run out of money. We didn't have the money initially to buy the land at all, and that was a creation. That was a part of this supernatural living, to get together to make it possible. Something that looked like an absolute just a daydream that could never happen, that the land became ours. And then I could see that through sharing what was going on. I really see that sometimes when we share this and we share the details, we really get into the form of what is actually happening in this moment, and we speak things into being. Like I shared that we had run out of money for this build. And in the sharing, in the speaking out of that looked really real to me, and I got into fear. I had a huge bill that I needed to pay to the architect, and then we had bills for water, bills for to connect electricity, bills to put a septic tank in, to get all the utilities onto the land so that we could move there to live in the caravan whilst we actually built the physical house. And I went into fear because it really looked like we had hit a brick wall here, and there was nothing we could do. So rather than go out into what the world says we have to do and do stuff to get this money, I went into my imagination. I went into using exactly what I had done when I wanted the land, seeing the land as my own, living in the end of this being my creation, of this being a reality, really seeing that's who I am. I am someone who owns this piece of land. So I did exactly the same thing, rather than trying to find work and create money in that way. I went inside myself and really created a space where I was someone who had paid these bills, where this had happened, where this was possible, where we were moving forward with getting solar panels onto the land and moving into the caravan. And in the last couple of weeks, in the most miraculous way, this money has come to me. I'm not going to share the details of exactly how it happened, because that is a little bit personal and private, but absolutely, totally and utterly, unexpectedly, out of the blue, in a way that I never saw coming, this money has materialized. And the timing of it is impeccable. How it has happened is simply unbelievable. It is, it's like, wow. So what I really see with this is we have the power within us to create via our imagination. We are thought created beings. We live in a thought generated world. Everything that we see around us, there are so many solid beliefs about how you build a business, how you build a house, how you get the money to build a house. And while a lot of those things may, probably have come from imagination and from people, it's suiting people and it being the right way to do it for them, what I see is that for me personally, living supernaturally means that I allow things into my life. I relax and allow. I don't get caught up in the thoughts that tell me that this is impossible and get caught up in my fear. as I said, I did get caught when I was sharing that we had hit this brick wall, when we had come to this place where it really looked as if the money wasn't going to be available. I absolutely got into the fear of that. Speaking about that, I spoke it into being, which is why, in one sense, I can see that's why we share things afterwards, not as it's happening. But I really, really want to, with this project, a huge part of what is really important to me is walking my talk, is sharing what's actually going on and sharing moment to moment how this happens. And I really, really see we do not have to become the thought police. You know, we do not have to watch everything we're doing and be careful about actually. Don't be careful. That is the worst thing that we could do, become thought police. But we can relax and allow and move in our imagination. That is how this works, because everything that we do on the outside, the actions that we take, come from our being, come from within us. Like, by the time we are taking actions, by the time we are doing things out in the world, that's a done deal. That's happening. We don't have the control. We can't change it there. A little bit like when you go to the cinema and you see the film on the screen. If you want the film to be different, the film is already a done deal. It can't be different there. If you want it to be different, you've got to go back into the studio. You've got to go to where the actors are and the play is happening. And it's the same for us in our minds. What we are trying to change things in the outside world here, it can't be done there. It happens beforehand. We have to go back to the source. We have to go back to who is it we are being? What is our state of consciousness? Where are we living? Who do we believe ourselves to be? And very often we believe there are so many mass beliefs about how things happen, how we create things, that we try to create things through these mass beliefs, like by doing it something that is already in action. We try to do it out here. And what I have really, really seen, the how, like what has happened, how I have ended up in a position where we can move forward with this build is not, is not at all what I expected it to be. This is not how I thought it was going to happen. It isn't even how I imagined it, if that makes sense. So it's not, because I could see actually when I am using my imagination, I don't imagine how those steps are going to happen, because the how, that is God's business. That is absolutely the business of the divine. So it's not about getting into the how. It was actually about knowing the ending. Like if you think again, if we go back to the film analogy, the way that we can step into using our imagination, using this amazing spiritual gift of thought that we have, is to go to the end. So if you're watching a film of a love story potentially, and there are two people who meet and then all sorts of things happen before they end up together. It's not about all of those details, the how that happened. It's about seeing the end, just before the end credits go up, seeing that the ending, what has happened. And for me, what I see to creating this was I saw myself as having this. I didn't see any of the details of how it happened. I didn't get into that at all. The how is God's business. That is absolutely beyond me. And when I look at actually how it happened, that was totally beyond me. I could not have made what happened happen. If I went back and tried to make it happen that way, I have no idea how I could do that. But what I could see was I could get to a place where I knew that it was a possibility. I could see the ending. I know that my house is going to be built. I live in that house in my imagination. And the same for this step. I lived in this being a done deal, and living in that beautiful feeling of knowing that that existed. And sure enough, it has happened. Not in a way that I could have ever believed that it would, but it has happened. And so that to me is what supernatural living is about. It is about realizing that our senses tell us about the physical world that is out there. You know, they tell us about what is, and we can easily get drawn into that. We can get so pulled in by our senses that we can stop using our imagination and this amazing spiritual gift that we have to think, to imagine, to see something more for ourselves. We can get pulled into the fact that we have no money, the fact that our health isn't great, the fact that our relationships aren't working out. We can get so pulled into those facts that our senses tell us are true because we are seeing that out in the world, that we don't look at the possibility that thought, this spiritual gift of imaginative thought, affords us. And yet that is where seeming miracles occur. When you actually look at how it works, they're not miracles at all. They're quite obvious. It's like something like that, with that thinking, that level of consciousness, that living in that state of consciousness, nothing else could have happened but that. And whatever that is, whether that is something you want or don't want, when you begin to really see the connection here, you see that. So we can allow these miracles in. You know, the how, we can't orchestrate that. And that's what we try to do when we have an idea. Like, I can see the whole thing for me here was building this house supernaturally, building my business supernaturally, building my YouTube channel supernaturally, just living in the space of where it is done, the beautiful feeling, the knowing, the trust, the allowing that these things are done. And I notice when I get into fear, when I start, you know, talking about what is in the moment, talking about how things are right now, that's when I get into fear. That's when I hold myself back. That is when I stop allowing these miracles into my life. So I'm going to invite you, after watching this video, to really imagine yourself into the state of the feeling of what it is like when what you truly want already exists. To turn away from your senses and what your senses, you know, what appears to be, to turn away from that and to really feel into what it is like to have what you want. Now I'm going to make another video, so do look out for that. I'm going to make another video really talking about that. Like, this is not about ignoring that. Turning away is something very, very different. But I'm going to end this video now because I've been talking for a while, but look out for my next video where I'm really going to be looking at that and talking about what that means, what it means to turn away from your current reality, to look towards, to feel into the possibility of what is. I'm going to expand on that for you. So if you've enjoyed this video, please do like, drop a comment if you have any comments, ask any questions, and please do subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Lots and lots of love. Oh, and by the way, if you do want to connect further, look in the show notes because there's ways that you can join my mailing list and hear more from me and connect more deeply. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.